This is episode 102, Resistance is Your Power. Welcome to Alive by Design. My name is Blake Mallon, and we're here to bring you inspiring people, principles, and practices to help you wake up, move toward your meant to, and feel fully alive. Open your mind and let's dive in. Hey guys, before you listen to the podcast, I just want to drop in and say I appreciate you for being here, and I'm super excited about this new Walk With Me series. These are solo episodes where I take some time in the middle of my morning run through the Santa Monica Mountains to share some inspired ideas and thoughts on my mind and heart. If you want to join me for any of these conversations live, you can catch me many mornings on my Facebook page, facebook.com/blakemallon.page. Would love to see you there. Love you guys. Enjoy the episode. Walk with me. So, question for you all this morning. Would you break an arrow with your neck? No, I mean like a literal question. Would you break an arrow, like a bow and arrow? You know, the thing you draw back, let go. An arrow, the things with the pointy ends that penetrate their target on the other end. An arrow. Would you break an arrow? Right here. With your neck. And yes, there's a reason I'm asking you that question. Coming off an amazing experience with our community, had a chance to host an event out in Louisville, an amazing hybrid event where we had entrepreneurs attend in person and thousands from all around the world virtually, and such amazing, phenomenal experience. So many awesome specialists, entertainers, entrepreneurs. Had a chance to learn from 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson was in the house. So much wisdom, so many nuggets. Was blown away by his story. Andy Grammer performed and shared some of his passion. Always gives me chills. If you're not listening to his music, add it to your playlist. Andy Grammer. Joseph McClendon III, one of the best when it comes to positive psychology, teaching us how to overcome, to become, get out of our own way. Nadi Nadim, if you haven't heard her story, I mean, almost brought me to tears. So empowering, so powerful. One of the most powerful women athletes in the world right now. Soccer, playing for Racing Louisville, in the house sharing her story. So inspiring, and you listen to that and it really causes you to reflect and be grateful for everything we all have right now, and many, many others. But needless to say, it was an awesome experience. So many magic moments, so many ahas, so many lessons by everybody I know who plugged in. But there was a moment on Saturday evening where we built the energy in the room to a peak state. Confidence, certainty, energy. Marched out of the room, down the street, grabbed an arrow, like literally a wooden arrow, fletching on one end, metal point and tip on the other. Went into a giant empty parking lot where we grabbed partners, and one proceeded to put the fletching side on a wood board, stand firm, while you put the tip or arrow side right here in the center of your clavicle, of your neck, and with no hands, attempted to break it. And I want to talk about that experience, that moment, and what it means, and how we can apply it to everything in our life. So I walk down and I see everybody lining up the boards, and I see everybody, right, energy high, and I see people breaking their arrows and celebrating, and just the feeling of accomplishment, the feeling of euphoria, the feeling of achievement, like electric, right, as people are celebrating the arrow break. So of course, I've never done this before, right? I said, I gotta try this, grabbed an arrow and walked up to one of the individuals who had a board. And there we go. Put the fletching of the arrow on the board, put the point of the arrow right in between my neck, let go of my hands where just the pressure of my neck and the board holding the arrow. Now, mind you guys, these are real arrows. There's no magic arrows. These aren't like pre-cut or pre-broken arrows, right? These are, wood arrows. I'm sure there were certain select ones. Don't try this at home with just any arrow, please. Disclaimer. And I'm standing there, and then you start to chant, you start to yell, resistance is my power. Go, go, go. And you build this mantra, resistance is my power, go, go, go. Resistance is my power, go, go, go. And after the third chant, resistance is my power, I took a step forward, putting the pressure of my body weight against that arrowhead while the other person held the board firm. And as I stepped forward with just the pressure of my neck, boom, the arrow exploded into 3 different pieces. And I snapped an arrow with my neck. It was an awesome feeling, was a very cool experience. I think even cooler than the feeling I had when I snapped my arrow was just watching everybody go through that same experience nearby, and just the celebration from individuals as they screamed that out loud and took that step forward. Resistance is my power, go, go, go. And you guys, the conversation today is beyond just an arrow break. Although if you ever get a chance to do that under supervision with professionals in an experience designed, again, this is not something you want to try at home. I recommend you do it. It's an amazing, amazing moment. But it's a moment that transcends just the arrow and just that minute. It's a moment that I think we all can grab some understanding from, especially with what's going on right now, because we're all facing a lot of resistance. It's interesting. Resistance is my power. I'm going to take a seat here. So often we run into events or circumstances where we come across resistance, right? Resistance meaning a pressure against us, right? A force in a different direction. We all know what resistance feels like when we're trying to move one way and there is something or some matter or some circumstance that seems to be preventing us from swiftly going in that direction. How many of you guys know in life we come across a lot of resistance? And so often resistance can be deflating, can be demoralizing. We all of a sudden want to go in a direction and something gets in our way, and sometimes we just feel like giving up. Sometimes it becomes too much. Sometimes we don't have the strength or the stamina or the endurance to keep pushing. Sometimes we start to lie to ourselves and let ourselves off the hook and say, oh, I guess this wasn't meant to be, right? Or I guess this isn't for me. How many of you guys listening have ever had that self-limiting, self-deflating internal dialogue where you want to go a certain direction, you know that it's a direction that's better for you, and you come across some sort of circumstance that slows you down, and you mentally have a dialogue that lets yourself off the hook and keep you from pushing through the resistance that you know you should? Resistance is my power. Guys, when it comes through circumstances that we face, we have to learn that resistance is a part of life. Resistance is normal. Resistance is put in place in order for us to build the muscle. Muscle being maybe the skill set, maybe the mindset that we need in order to get to the other side. The resistance is what makes us stronger. The resistance is what defines us. We have to overcome to become. In other words, we have to face a certain resistance and get through in order to become the person we're capable of being on the other side. You can't go through life without any resistance and grow and progress and get stronger. You're not going to become the best you that you can be. You're not going to unleash a potential that is inside of you. You're not going to sharpen the talents that you have. You're not going to develop the gifts you were given without resistance in our life. So we have to reframe or shift our perspective on resistance when it comes to certain circumstances. You guys, we have to start looking at our life. Our life is not meant for entertainment. Our life is meant for education. And so often we get lost that, hey, everything around us has to be easy or has to be fun. It's meant to entertain. Everything today is like life on demand, right? We have an app for that, right? Download it today. Sometimes it almost becomes too easy. And when it's not as easy in a direction, we give up. But guys, life isn't meant for entertainment. The things we go through, it's meant for education. And if we flip or shift our script, shift that paradigm and realize that what is put in front of us is put in front of us for a reason, to give us a lesson, to develop a skill, to help us become who we're meant to be, we start to go through and accept that resistance in an entirely different way. This is put here in order to make me better. And you guys, that's true of the circumstances that we face. It's also true of the people that come into our lives or the relationships, right, that we develop. You know, there's a lot of conversation today around getting rid of toxic relationships and toxic people, and I'm 100% in alignment with those conversations. Life's too short, right? Surround yourself with people that lift you up, that make you better, that raise your standard, that give you energy, right? As opposed to people that do the opposite or limit. I'm all for that. And there are some relationships that do get defined as right toxic that you don't want in your life. So don't misunderstand me when I say this. I also believe that there are certain relationships that come into your life for a reason. And you guys, sometimes we get people in our life to give us resistance for a reason. Right? Sometimes we have people that cross our path that maybe trigger us or that maybe give us some pressure for a reason. Have you ever stopped to think that sometimes the people that trigger us or they get us to react or they get us to feel a certain way, that maybe those people are put there for a reason for us to learn something? You know, they say that which triggers us is about us. Meaning if you have a certain person or you've had a certain circumstance with an individual that triggers you meaning because of something they said or something they did, it gives you a visceral reaction, an emotional reaction, right? You guys, so often we got to look inward that reaction isn't about them or what they did. It's about us and where we came from. See, people in front of us remind us of certain things in our past. That which triggers us is often about us. That which allows us to get an emotional rise is often more about us than it is about them. And sometimes those people are put in our life to give us those triggers, to shine a bright light on what needs to be healed or what needs to be shifted or what needs some attention. You so often that people that we think are our antagonists are often our angels in disguise, because they're put in our life to shine a light on something that maybe needs some focus, some attention, some love, some improvement, something for you to overcome. So I'm not just talking about circumstances that come into our life. They give us pressure. They give us resistance. I'm also talking about the people that come into our lives that give us pressure and give us resistance. You guys, every one of those matters, every one of those individuals, think of it like that arrow right against your neck, right? When you have that arrow right against your neck, yeah, it can be scary. There is pressure there. It's something you can physically feel. And it is easy just to take a step backwards and let the arrow drop, to run away, to go a different direction. But that doesn't make you any stronger. That doesn't make you any better. You see, sometimes when you get a resistance from an individual or a person, that arrow is right against your neck. That pressure is there. You guys, sometimes it's there to see if we have what it takes to step forward, to lean into it, to put all of ourselves in that direction. And then in stepping forward, yeah, that pressure builds. Yeah, you can feel it. Yeah, it gets physical. But leaning into it, focusing forward, that pressure breaks that resistance. And isn't that an amazing feeling when you lean into something that you know was tough? And all of a sudden you break through, you get to the other side. You realize it wasn't as bad as your mind told you it was going to be. You realize that all of a sudden, wow, there was a lesson on the other end. Wow, that issue made you stronger. Wow, that person showed you something about yourself. You guys, that's what resistance is. See, somewhere along our timeline here, we developed a belief that life's meant to be easy, or if there's some resistance, there must be something wrong. Guys, that's normal. Resistance is normal. Matter of fact, life without resistance would be boring and bland. We'd never grow. It's the resistance that allows us to progress, to grow, to transcend, to become all that we're capable of. And the more resistance we're able to lean into, the more we're going to grow and the more potential we're going to unlock. The resistance is our power in both what we run into and who we come across. The resistance is our power. You got to lean into it, and you lean into it, you're able to break through. The resistance is our power. That's the shift we have to have with what we're facing. So I wanted to share that experience with all of you because number one, it was a cool experience breaking the arrow. I kept it. It's in my office now. It was a cool experience to watch those that went through, but it was more than just breaking an arrow with our neck. I think the analogy or the metaphor is something that's very relevant today in a time where we got headwinds that are strong, right? We got resistance that is real, right? This isn't manifested. This isn't make-believe, like real resistance out there. Inevitably, we're all going to have people in our life that do trigger us to come across our path. Right? The late, great Jim Rohn says, every relationship is here for a reason or a season or a lifetime. Cherish the ones that are here for a lifetime, guys. They're few and far between. Love them, right? Keep them in your life. Cherish the ones that are here for a season. They help us grow. But guys, learn to love the ones that are here for a reason, because the reason, that resistance right here, right now, might just be not to entertain, but to educate you, to give you something you need on the path that you're meant to be on. So next time you feel the pressure, maybe not just in your neck, but in your body, right? Physically, emotionally, instead of running away, instead of taking a step backwards and letting that arrow drop, so to speak, lean into it, focus forward, realize the resistance is your power. There's something to learn. And if you continue to lean into it with what you got, you'll break through. And breaking through, guys, the person on the other end is different than the person that began. And that's what it is about. Give you one more view from the top. Beautiful day. Hey, you guys tell me, what's something in your life right now that's giving you a resistance you got to lean into? Ask yourself that question. Lean into it this week. Rates and reviews, always welcome. They make a difference. I read all of them. And guys, my hope for all of you today is that we think a little bit differently about the headwinds against us. We think a little bit differently about the resistance upon us. And instead of taking a step backwards, we lean into it and go forward. Resistance is our power. Go, go, go. Have a great week, everybody.
Hey guys, one last thing. I'm super excited that this new podcast, Alive by Design, just went live. You see, I designed the show to bring you inspired thoughts and fascinating conversations with the world's most impactful people, to provide transformative principles and practices to help you wake up, move toward your meant to, and feel fully alive. And I'd love for you to help me spread the word now. Simply subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on this platform right now. So if I've ever given you value, please do me this personal favor and go subscribe now. And if you found today's episode helpful in any way, make sure you share this with at least one friend today. You have the power right now to change someone's day. So send them a text message with a link to alivebydesign.com, or simply copy and paste the link right from this podcast platform. Who's one person you know right now that you want to see succeed, that you want to see grow, that you want to see feel more alive? Shoot them a text with your largest takeaway from today and be a light in their day. And if you were referred here by a friend, make sure you shoot them a text back and say thank you. I'd love to hear from you directly on what you got from today's podcast. So if you're up for it, drop by my Instagram @BlakeMalin and shoot me a DM. And as always, thank you for showing up. I'm grateful for you, and I hope our time together today in some small way helped you feel a little more alive. Until next time.